Let's get one thing straight right off the bat. If you think Florida is just Disney World, retirement communities, and that one news headline about a guy chunking an alligator through a drive-through window, you haven't been to the Emerald Coast. Stretching from the quiet dunes of Johnson Beach on Perdido Key to the busier shores of Panama City Beach, this is a stretch of pure magic. A ribbon of sugar white sand and emerald green sea. In this episode, we're sticking to the stretch from Johnson Beach on Florida's western border to Opal Beach on Santa Rosa Island, where the sand's white, the water's turquoise, the beer is always cold, and the folks mind their own business. Well, most of the time. Alright, picture this. A few miles west of Pensacola, where the spring break crowds start thinning out and you can hear yourself think again, lies Perdido Key, a skinny little spit of land that looks like somebody stretched out a sandbar just to see if it would hold it. Perdido means lost in Spanish, which is pretty fitting since most people don't even know this place exists. Heck, I bet half the GPS systems out there still think this is part of Alabama. There's no fried Oreo stands here, no Ferris wheels, no one's hollering shots at 2 in the afternoon. Just sea oats, sand dunes, and the occasional osprey flying overhead. People down here will tell you it's one of the last places left that still feels like old Florida. 16 miles of protected, untouched coastline, with Johnson Beach sitting at the far end like the quiet kid in class who actually has the most interesting stories if you just shut up and listen. Back in the old Jim Crow days, when black families were banned from most beaches around here, they carved out a piece of this island and made it their own. A lifeline, not just a picnic spot. Then in 1950, a 17-year-old named Rosamond Johnson Jr. died in the Korean War, saving a fellow soldier, and they named the beach after him. Now every May, folks gather around this granite marker in the sand. Ain't no big show, just real people remembering real history. Now, let me introduce you to the Perdido Key Beach Mouse. I know, sounds like the name of a failed kids cartoon, right? But this tiny critter's basically the unofficial mayor of the sand dunes. Critically endangered, nocturnal, kinda adorable. It scurries around at night, planting seeds like a 4-legged Johnny Appleseed in a fur coat. Then you got sea turtles, coming back year after year to lay eggs like it's their ancestral duty. Which, I guess it is. Volunteers are out here at dawn, marking nests, keeping ghost crabs and dumb tourists at bay, so those baby turtles can make their break for the waves like they're in a Pixar shark with real-world consequences. Rosamond Johnson Beach is now part of the Gulf Islands National Seashore, so there'll be a reasonable entrance fee to visit. They fly the surf flag at the front gate to let you know what kind of day you're going to have before you ever hit the sand. So what's a surf flag? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's a little breakdown. Imagine a stretch of sand that's not just a backdrop for sunburned tourists and overzealous frisbee games, but a battleground where the unassuming, like you and me, come face to face with the brute force of nature. Here's where the humble beach flag steps up, not so much waving as warning. Since 2004, thanks to the clipboard warriors at the International Life-Saving Federation, these flags have been our frontline defenses, our unsung heroes in the fight against the ocean surprises. Each color screams a different caution. The green flag is your go-ahead, whispering all's clear, as inviting as a cold beer after a long day. But then there's the red flag, throwing up a stop sign in the wind, screaming danger like a hot stove or a bad street taco. But let's not overlook the double red. This isn't just advice, it's an order. The water is off limits. Go find a bar and tell your stories there. Yellow will have you on your toes, warning of conditions that could toss you around like a salad. And purple, it's not just pretty, it's alerting you to wildlife that doesn't care about your vacation plan. This whole system, maintained by the stalwarts at the United States Life-Saving Association and upheld by beach communities, isn't just some bureaucratic tape. It's a lifeline. They're out there putting up flags and signs, making sure you can read the beach like a menu, knowing exactly what you're getting into. It's about letting you soak up the sun without getting knocked down by the unseen. So next time you're at the beach, give a nod to the humble flag. It might just be the best beach buddy you've ever had. Johnson Beach lays out 4 access points for you, stretching along a little scenic drive down Perdido Key. The first one you come to, it's the biggest. You roll up and you usually find plenty of parking, unless it's packed out with folks who had the same idea you did. You get bathrooms with changing areas, a pavilion to hide from the sun, outdoor showers to wash the ocean off you, and a sign warning you that you'll be swimming with sharks. So, whether you call it the Gulf of America or go with the old-fashioned Gulf of Mexico, there are sharks out there. Not these kind of sharks, mostly these kind of sharks, but also some of these kind of sharks. Just remember, don't swim when the sharks are most active, dawn, dusk, and at night, and stay away from schools of fish. In the Gulf states, we swim with sharks all the time, and the attack rate, on average, is very low. After familiarizing yourself with all possible warning signs, you finally step out onto that sugar white sand and look out at water so green it makes you think God spilled a bottle of emerald dye in the Gulf. They don't call it the Emerald Coast because it sounds cute. It's the real deal. Right across the road from the main beach setup, you stumble upon the Discovery Trail. It's a short, tight little boardwalk loop, real well kept, showing off all the different kinds of coastal wilderness Perdido Key's got left. You wind through salt marshes, pine flats, and beach scrub, and you might spot birds, lizards, rabbits, or whatever else decides today's the day to come out and be cute. It's wheelchair friendly too, with signs along the way explaining what you're looking at. Perfect if you want to sound smart later without Googling everything. There's even a little small boat launch if you want to take the kayak out and paddle around in the bay. Head further down island and you'll pass a couple of more beach lots before you hit the end of the road. No motorized vehicles past that point. You want to keep going? You're gonna hoof it. And somewhere out there, half buried in sand and stubbornness, sits the busted up bones of Fort McReed, an old Confederate fort the U.S. Navy lit up like a birthday cake back during the Civil War. Spend a day at Johnson Beach, and you'll start to get it. The stillness, the way time doesn't march here. It just kind of meanders. No neon signs, no Bluetooth blaring golf carts trying to turn the dunes into Daytona. Just sky, sand, and the steady slush of the surf. You can hike the Discovery Trail, wander toward the end of the island, or just plant yourself in the sand and stare at the water till your phone dies and you realize you don't even miss it. The world-famous Flora-Bama Lounge ain't just a bar. It's a battered beach shack Frankensteined together over the years into a full-blown cultural experiment and barely controlled chaos. It squats right there on the Florida-Alabama line, like it got drunk, picked a fight with 2 states, and somehow managed to come out on top. You don't come here to be polite. You come here to forget your name for a few hours and trade it in for something louder, sweatier, and soaked in rum. But let's get real. We gotta talk about the food, because somewhere between the spilled beer, the bikini contest, and some dude hurling a mullet across state lines like it's the Olympics, the old River Grill is over there quietly slinging out shrimp tacos. That'll change your life. But first, the first thing we're doing is ordering half a pound of Gulf shrimp, fresh as hell, caught so close you could probably still hear the boat motor. No overthinking, no fancy tricks, just fat, sweet shrimp, boiled till they're perfect, then soaked in enough butter and garlic you'll thank your mother for bringing you into a world that has such wonders in it. The Flora-Bama could have just stopped right there, and you'd have the perfect appetizer. But they didn't. They dressed this up like a crawfish ball, complete with sausage, new potatoes, and a piece of corn. Now on to the main attraction, the blackened shrimp tacos I've heard so much about. They take gumbo-sized shrimp, spiced to perfection, and laid out on a tortilla like the kitchen's doing you a personal favor. They throw in some shredded cabbage, not for show, mind you, but to give your mouth a little crunch to balance all that glory. Then they hit it with a big old slather of comeback sauce. And if you ain't familiar, comeback sauce is basically mayonnaise and mustard that decided to join a biker gang. It's creamy, peppery, and just enough bite to stop you right in your tracks. This ain't fine dining. This is food for people who've been out in the sun too long, drank just a little too much, and need something in their hands that tastes like salvation. And if you're the type to skip dessert, buddy, you're just wrong. The key lime pie here, it ain't polite. It's sharp, cold, and so dang good it'll have you leaning on the railing, staring out at the Gulf, thinking real hard about where your life has gone right. It's the kind of pie that doesn't just let you take a bite and move on. It grabs you by the collar and tells you straight to your face, you're gonna remember me, son. And by gosh, you're gonna. Nobody at the Flora-Bama gives a dang where you're from, or what you look like, or how you rolled up. You could be a millionaire in flip-flops, or a broke poet with sand in your pockets. Doesn't matter, you're here now. So order those tacos, raise your glass to Jimmy Buffett, let the music from 5 different stages hit you like a Gulf Coast fever dream. At the Flora-Bama, the rules don't mean a damn thing. But the comeback sauce? That's the gospel from the coast, y'all. Out here where the dirt finally gives up and the Gulf rolls in like it owns the place, you'll hit Pensacola Beach. A long, skinny stretch of sand that looks like it might snap clean off and drift away, but somehow hangs on like your uncle after 4 beers and a bad decision. This beach doesn't flinch. Hurricanes, oil spills, spring breakers. It just takes the hits, shrugs, and keeps going. Tougher than gas station jerky and twice as salty. The sand out here, it's bright enough to sunburn your retinas. This ain't no tourist trick. It's ground up Appalachian quartz that got hauled down by rivers a few ice ages back. Walk it barefoot and it squeaks like a dog toy, but somehow just makes it feel more alive. Pensacola Beach doesn't need flash. It's a line in the sand between chaos and calm, where the Gulf's always talking and the wind don't care what your job title is. You'll see old-timers tossing cast nets like poetry, hear bluegrass out of beach bars with sticky floors, and grab a plate of shrimp and grits at a joint that hasn't changed its menu since disco died. It ain't polished, it ain't fancy, but it's honest, and that counts for something, at least with me. Pensacola Beach is the real deal, and it's damn happy to have you. Langdon Beach is so laid back, it makes a porch swing feel like a NASCAR race. This little slice of sandy heaven is also tucked inside the Gulf Islands National Seashore, just a stone throw away from the more touristy chaos of Pensacola Beach. But over here, ain't no neon, no party boats, no guy in a tank top trying to sell you parasailing lessons at 9 a.m. This is where the Gulf comes to chill. Now I know folks like to throw around the phrase, hidden gem. But Langdon Beach ain't just hidden, it's off the grid, at least in spirit, even if it is technically on the map. Out at the western tip of Santa Rosa Island, this place ain't trying to be a scene at all. It's trying to be a reminder of what Florida looked like before everything turned into a Beach Boys song or a retirees HOA meeting. You get powdery white sand that squeaks under your feet, like it's trying to whisper, hey buddy, relax. You got Gulf breezes that knock the stress out of your shoulders and into next week. And you've got space, real space, not like scoot your towel over 6 inches from the stranger next to you space. We're talk walk 30 steps and forget people exist kind of space. And the history? Oh, it's thicker than the mayonnaise on a church picnic sandwich. Just a short walk from the beach, you got Fort Pickens, this old brick and cannon fort that used to guard the coast. You're sitting there eating your sandwich, staring at the ocean, and 100 feet away some Civil War ghost is like, "Yep, we used to shoot at pirates from right here." How's that for a lunch for you? Now don't go expecting no 5-star resort setup. This ain't no Holiday Inn Express. Facilities are basic, but honest. Parking, bathrooms at work, a pavilion if you want a snack in the shade. It's the kind of place you bring your own cooler, drag your own chair, and thank the universe that not every beach has been turned into a t-shirt outlet strip mall. And the best part, if a few folks do show up and you start getting that itch for solitude, just walk down a little further. The Gulf will be waiting for you, silent, glittery, and totally cool with your need for peace and quiet. So if you're wanting a beach with a little heart, a little grit, and a whole lot of soul, Langdon Beach is your huckleberry. Come for the sand, stay for the vibe. Because sometimes the best kind of vacations is one that doesn't feel like a vacation at all. It just feels like freedom. If you keep driving east from the national park, you hit Park West, where the sand's still sugar white, the water's still stupid pretty, and life still slows down just enough to make sense again. A big old parking lot sits right there off Fort Pickens Road, and buddy, they ain't stingy about it. Plenty of room for you, your buddies, your cooler, and that one cousin who always shows up late but still expects a spot. You got covered pavilions with real, honest-to-God grills under them in case you want to show off your world-famous hot dog skills. Picnic tables too, so you ain't got to eat your sandwich half buried in sand like some kind of caveman. Now you may want to check ahead. I think they have to be reserved, and they probably cost a little bit too. They set up real restrooms and outdoor showers too, which honestly feels like a luxury when you're sunburnt, sandy, and just one bad decision away from getting banned from a Waffle House. In the busy season, they even post up lifeguards, and not the bored, half-Texan kind either. These folks actually look like they could haul your sunburned ass out of the Gulf if you got too ambitious with a boogie board. And the beach itself, man, it's wide open. No fancy boardwalks, no overpriced ice cream shops. Just clean sand, clear water, and all the space you need to set up camp like you're king of the coastline. Park West feels like Florida ought to be. Easy, simple, and about as close to paradise as you can get without catching a sunburn in places you didn't know could burn. And if all that didn't sell you on Park West, they have food trucks that serve shaved ice. To me, that's the height of civilization right there. Alright y'all, let's talk about Casino Beach, which isn't as much a beach as it is a Gulf Coast fever dream. Equal parts sunscreen, fried shrimp, and just general tomfoolery. All held together by the gravitational pull of a giant beach ball water tower that looks like it was designed by a drunk cartoonist. This ain't your quiet, toes in the sand, bring a book kind of beach. No sir. Casino Beach is awake, screaming, strutting, and double-fisting frozen daiquiris with a Bluetooth speaker shoved in its cooler. The sand is so white it could pass for a country club member. And the water is that crazy shade of green you'd swear was photoshopped until you're knee-deep in it with a sunburn and a smile. Now back in the day, there was a real deal casino here. Blackjack, bourbon, brass bands, all up in the salt area. Till some hurricane came in and turned it into a memory. But instead of letting it go gently into that watery grave, the beach leaned in and said, "Screw it, let's keep the party going." Just with surfboards instead of slot machines. You got vendors hawking everything from sunscreen to glow-in-the-dark margaritas. Families with 10 beach chairs and 2 coolers per kid. Lifeguards watching the chaos like it's the Daytona 500. And some fella in American flag swim trunks trying to impress a Tinder date with a pro watercross stunt and a styrofoam cooler full of Busch Light. And look, if you're like me and you're more of a sip iced tea and read Faulkner beachgoer, there's a quiet, no alcohol zone for me and you too. But Casino Beach, it's for the people, the good, the sunburned, and the gloriously rowdy. The vibe is like if spring break met a family reunion and everybody brought sandwiches. The ghosts of that old casino They're still here. Not like, ooh, spooky, but like your favorite drunk uncle, telling stories by the bonfire. You feel them in every laugh, every bad sun tattoo, every chorus of Sweet Home Alabama that gets hollered across the shoreline after 2 rum buckets and a fish taco. So yeah, Casino Beach ain't subtle, but sure as heck is alive. If you're looking for peace and quiet, keep on driving. But if you want the beating heart of the Gulf, slather on some sunscreen and get in, loser, we're going beaching. Alright y'all, let me tell you about the Pensacola Beach Gulf Pier. This thing ain't just a slab of concrete sticking out into the Gulf. It's a full-blown experience, with salt on its breath and sand between its toes. First off, this sucker's long, like real long. We're talking 1,471 feet, which means it doesn't just flirt with the Gulf, it goes steady with it. It stretches right past 2 sandbars into the kind of water where fish get big and tourists get quiet. You'll find it smack dab on Casino Beach, sitting next to spots like Casino Beach Bar and Grill, and the Go Fish Go Shop, where you can buy seashells you didn't actually find. Now, let's talk fishing. This pier ain't just for strolling and selfie taking. Folks pull up kingfish, Spanish mackerel, cobia, flounder, and even the occasional maui or sailfish if the Gulf is feeling generous. They got a bait shop right there with rentals, so you don't have to show up like you're storming Bass Pro Shops. Just grab a pole and start casting. Wildlife? Oh, it's got that too. Dolphins roll by like they're on their morning commute. Rays, sharks, seabirds, you name it. And if fishing ain't your thing, just hang out and soak in the view. Come sunset, the sky goes full on Bob Ross, and it's dang near spiritual. And get this, it's a survivor. The original pier goes all the way back to the early 1900s, and it's taken a beating from hurricanes over the years, including a rough one from Opal back in '95. But they rebuilt it with the kind of muscle that says, "Nice try, Mother Nature," using reinforced concrete and storm-ready decking. If you're visiting, just know there's a small fee for fishing or just walking on out. And they got benches, shade. It's ADA friendly, so nobody gets left out. Plus, you're right by the grub spots, bathrooms, and all those beachy convenience you could want. Bottom line, the Pensacola Beach Pier ain't just a place, it's a vibe. Come for the fish, stay for the view, and leave with a little bit more Gulf in your veins. If you slide on over to the sound side, you're going to find Quietwater Beach, which is exactly what the name says. It is quiet, laid back, and about as calm as a Sunday nap. The water here barely even makes waves. It's like the Gulf's rowdy cousin finally sat down, cracked open a beer, and decided to behave for once. You ain't got to worry about rip currents or getting body slammed by a rogue wave. You just wade on out waist deep and float your troubles clean away. They hook you up too. You get real restrooms and outdoor showers, so you don't have to drive home smelling like low tide. Everything's wheelchair accessible because everybody deserves a shot at toes in the sand bliss, no exceptions. Right next door, the boardwalk jumps off with shops, bars, and restaurants stacked up tighter than a barbecue plate at a family reunion. You can grab a burger, snag a cold drink, buy a t-shirt you'll never wear again, and still be back on your beach towel before your flip-flops even cool off. Plus, they throw live music and festivals at the Shell stage, so you might just get serenaded while you're working on your second sunburn of the day. Quietwater Beach ain't about high drama or high dollar nonsense. It's about chilling hard, eating good, splashing around in water so calm it might as well be holy, and remembering that sometimes the best kind of wild is the kind that lets you sit still for just 1 minute. Right off the boardwalk is Water Pig Barbecue, where lunch ain't some sad little afterthought they threw together to please the corporate types back in New York City. It's a dang full-blown event. The kind where you show up hungry and leave needing a nap and a life coach. This place squats right up against the sand, like it owns the shoreline. And honestly, it kinda does. They built Water Pig not just to feed you, but to please you. Their barbecue is smoked, low and slow. No apologies, no shortcuts. It's open-air seating with Gulf breezes whipping your napkins off the table. And they got a smoker out back, belching hickory sweet promises into the sky. Now, let us talk about why we're really here. The brisket barbacoa tacos. When they hit the table, they ain't playing around. You get 2 classic street tacos, built honest and simple. A heavy-handed pile of slow-cooked beef barbacoa, so tender it basically apologizes to your teeth for making them do any work. They top it off with diced onion and fresh-cut cilantro. None of that sad, wilted garnish nonsense. And they drop a lime wedge on the side, like they know you're going to need a little acid to cut through the glorious meat tsunami you're about to unleash. And because Water Pig understands the way normal, decent folks eat, they don't hand you a couple of tacos and call it a day. No, sir. They toss in a side of golden, crispy tater tots. Little country miracles that ought to come with a warning label about how addictive they are. You sit there, toes in the sand, brisket juice dripping down your wrist, popping tots like you're at a high-stakes carnival, and for a sweet, smoky moment, you forget about calories, beach bods, or whatever dumb plan you had to just grab a light bite. Water Pig doesn't do light bites. They do barbecue, and they do it like they mean it. Alright, here's the deal. If you're looking for a place to stay on Pensacola Beach, where the sand's close enough to your pillow you could wake up with a seashell stuck in your ear, the Fairfield Inn and Suites at 16 Via de Luna is where it's at. This ain't one of those technically near the beach if you squint hard and cross a parking lot kind of places. Nope, this sucker is right on it. Like, roll out of bed, grab a towel, and 2 minutes later you're in the Gulf staring at a mullet kind of close. You step out the back, and boom, there's that sugary white sand and water so clear you think God himself filtered it. The hotel's got this big old deck and pool area that practically dares you not to lounge. There's hammocks, there's fire pits, there's a tiki bar slinging frozen drinks that'll make you forget whatever your job was back home. Inside your hotel room, it's clean, bright, and smells like somebody actually cleaned it in the last month and a half. They're spacious enough to stretch out after a day of salt, sun, and shrimp. Most of them come with Gulf views, which means you can sit on your balcony, in your towel, and feel like royalty. Or at least like you made one good decision this year. Bottom line, Fairfield Inn and Suites ain't fancy, but it nails what matters. Location, comfort, and a front row seat to one of the best beaches in the dang country. You stay here, you're not just visiting Pensacola Beach, you're living it. Alright, picture this. You're riding down the coastal section of Highway 399. The sun is high in the air. The radio's cranking out that Kenny Chesney. And your cooler is full. And then you hit it. Opal Beach. Not a tiki bar in sight. No banana boats. No shirtless chads cranking out Pitbull on a Bluetooth speaker the size of your dad's Buick. Just peace, quiet, and sand so white it looks like someone spilled a bag of flour across the coastline. Now I know what you're thinking. Sounds kind of fancy. And yeah, it does. But this ain't no hoity-toity beach club with valet parking and overpriced crab dip. This is raw, uncut, straight from the Gulf beauty. Nature the way it was before every real estate developer with a comb-over showed up and started slapping condos on every dune. Named after Hurricane Opal, which came in like a pissed-off ex and flattened half the Gulf Coast back in the 1990s. This place rebuilt itself, not with souvenir shops and beer pong tournaments, but with dunes, COs, and actual serenity. And let me tell you, Opal Beach is blessed with facilities that actually work. You got real bathrooms, not those plastic porta saunas you normally find at natural beaches. Showers to wash the salt off of you, and covered pavilions where you can eat your lunch in peace. It's quiet, peaceful. You can actually hear the waves, the birds, even the sand making that squeaky sound under your flip-flops, like it's happy to see you. Ain't nobody blowing vape clouds in your face or trying to sell you anything. You may even forget your phone exists. If you want the beach and not the BS, if you're into nature that doesn't smell like tanning oil and bad decisions, Opal Beach is your spot. Y'all, I'm telling you, go there, sit, breathe, be a dang human for half a minute. Thank you for watching. If you're hungry for more of the strange and beautiful chaos that is the Gulf Coast, we got a podcast now over on Patreon. And if you haven't hit that subscription button yet, now's the time. Don't overthink it, just do it. Until next time, folks, this is Gulf Coastal Connections. Stay curious, stay hungry, and stay salty.
From my sixth string, on my rumble train, still shrinking in the bar. Racing away on the river, searching for my lost sugar and salt. Salt, salt. Some people claim that there's any wrong with the blame.